Don't compare yourself to others. Your path is your path, and you're just going to work as hard as you can. You'll find your way to the top.
Jalen Marquise Brunson, born August 31st, 1996. There's certain players who become stars exactly the way everyone expects. They're crowned as teenagers, dominate college basketball, become lottery picks, and eventually grow into franchise players. Then there's players like Jalen Brunson, whose resume suggested he should have followed the same path, yet somehow didn't. By the time Brunson left college, he had already accomplished nearly everything imaginable. He was a McDonald's All-American, a two-time NCAA Champion, National Player of the Year, and one of the most accomplished point guards of his generation. On paper, he looked like the type of winner every NBA team should have wanted. Instead, draft night told a different story. 32 players were selected before Brunson finally heard his name called. Scouts questioned whether he was athletic enough, whether he was big enough, and whether his game had another level to reach. Despite years of winning at every stop, many teams believed they had already seen his ceiling. They didn't view him as a future franchise cornerstone. They viewed him as a reliable backup. That evaluation would become one of the biggest miscalculations of the modern NBA, because over the next several years, Brunson didn't just prove he belonged, he forced the basketball world to completely rethink what it had thought it knew about him. From overlooked second-round pick to NBA champion and one of basketball's elite point guards, his rise wasn't built on hype. It was built on proving that winning has a value numbers at the combine can never measure. Here are 3 important growth spurts that made Jalen Brunson who he is today. What happened? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know who I should do next. Jalen Brunson is a 6'2" point guard from Lincolnshire, Illinois, and the son of former NBA guard Rick Brunson. Growing up around the game, Brunson developed into one of the country's top high school point guards at Stevenson High School. During his career there, he led the program to 4 straight conference championships and a state championship, earned Illinois Mr. Basketball honors, was selected as a McDonald's All-American, and helped Team USA win gold at the 2015 FIBA Under-19 World Cup, where he was named tournament MVP. By the time he graduated, Brunson had already established himself as one of the most accomplished guards in his class. He took his talents to Villanova, where he became the engine of Jay Wright's championship program. Brunson helped lead the Wildcats to NCAA championships in 2016 and 2018, evolving from a steady freshman into the unquestioned leader of one of the nation's best teams. During his junior season, he averaged 18.9 points and 4.6 assists while winning nearly every major individual award in college basketball, including the National Player of the Year, the Bob Cousy Award, and consensus first-team All-American honors. With a resume most prospects could only dream of, many expected Brunson to hear his name called early in the 2018 NBA draft. Instead, concerns about his size, athleticism, and perceived upside caused him to slide to the second round, where the Dallas Mavericks selected him with the 33rd overall pick. It was the first sign that despite everything he had accomplished, the basketball world still wasn't fully convinced. Spurt number 1, built by doubt. For most players, doubt begins to disappear once the accolades start piling up. For Jalen Brunson, it seemed to grow. Every accomplishment was met with another reason why he supposedly wouldn't succeed at the next level. He won in high school, but critics questioned whether his game was athletic enough for major college basketball. He won 2 national championships at Villanova, but many credited the system more than the point guard running it. Then he became a National Player of the Year, one of the highest honors in college basketball, and the conversation still wasn't about how good he was, it was about what he lacked. Scouts pointed to his height, average explosiveness, and limited upside, believing they had already seen the best version of Jalen Brunson. Draft night only reinforced that narrative. 32 players were selected before Dallas Mavericks finally made the pick. For someone with one of the most decorated resumes in the country, it was a clear message. NBA teams respected his winning, but didn't believe he possessed the physical tools to become a franchise player. Most projected him as a dependable backup who could manage a second unit, not someone capable of leading one of the league's biggest organizations. Instead of allowing those opinions to discourage him, Brunson embraced them. He had spent his entire basketball life proving that intelligence, toughness, and skill could overcome measurements on a scouting report. Rather than chasing highlight plays or trying to become someone he wasn't, he doubled down on the qualities that had carried him this far. He mastered pace, footwork, decision-making, and playing under control. Every criticism became another reminder that he still had something to prove. Looking back, the draft wasn't just another stop in Brunson's journey. It became the fuel that powered everything that followed. Being selected in the second round didn't lower his ceiling in his mind, or at least he didn't allow himself to accept the doubter's evaluation. It sharpened his edge and placed the chip on his shoulder. While other prospects entered the league believing they had already arrived, Brunson entered believing he still had to earn everything. That mentality would become the foundation of his career and the first major growth spurt that transformed an accomplished winner into a player determined to make the entire NBA regret underestimating him. Spurt number 2, Dallas built him, then let him walk. For all the criticism surrounding Jalen Brunson entering the NBA, the Dallas Mavericks quickly discovered they had drafted a player far better than his draft position suggested. As a rookie, Brunson immediately earned the trust of head coach Rick Carlisle with his maturity, poise, and decision-making. While many second-round picks struggled just to stay in the league, Brunson carved out a consistent role from day one. He wasn't the flashiest player on the floor, but he rarely made mistakes. Every season his confidence grew, his scoring improved, and his responsibilities expanded. Playing alongside Luka Doncic only accelerated his development. Rather than competing for control of the offense, Brunson embraced his role and learned how to thrive next to one of the league's most ball-dominant superstars. He became one of the NBA's best secondary playmakers, capable of running the offense whenever Doncic rested, while also attacking defenses as a scorer. By the 21-22 season, Brunson averaged 16.3 points and nearly 5 assists, but his biggest statement came when the playoffs arrived. With Doncic sidelined for the opening games of Dallas's first-round series against the Utah Jazz, Brunson was suddenly asked to carry an offense many believed revolved entirely around Luka. Instead, he delivered the best basketball of his career. Brunson scored 41 points in Game 2 and averaged 27 points during the series, helping Dallas survive until Luka returned before ultimately advancing. It was the first time many fans realized Brunson wasn't simply benefiting from Luka's presence. He was capable of leading a winning team himself. Ironically, even after witnessing that breakout, Dallas still failed to fully recognize his value. The Mavericks had opportunities to sign Brunson to a team-friendly contract before his price skyrocketed but chose to wait. By the time free agency arrived, his market value had exploded beyond what Dallas was prepared to pay. The New York Knicks offered him the opportunity to become their franchise point guard, and the Mavericks watched one of the league's best young guards leave without receiving anything in return. That decision would change two organizations forever. Dallas lost a perfect complement to Luka Doncic, while New York gained the leader it had been searching for over 2 decades. Sometimes a growth spurt doesn't happen because a player suddenly improves. Sometimes it happens because one organization fails to recognize what another finally sees. Spurt number 3, someone finally handed him the keys. When Jalen Brunson agreed to sign with the New York Knicks in the summer of 2022, the reaction was anything but unanimous. The Knicks gave him a 4-year, $104 million contract, and critics immediately questioned whether he was worth that kind of money. Many believed New York had overpaid for a player who had never been an all-star and had spent most of his career playing next to Luka Doncic. Some even argued the Mavericks had made the right decision by letting him leave, insisting Brunson had benefited from Dallas's system more than he had created his own success. For the first time in his NBA career, Brunson wasn't asked to fit around another superstar. He was asked to become one. He would embrace the challenge immediately. Brunson averaged more than 24 points in his first season with the Knicks, earned his first All-Star selection the following year, and quickly established himself as one of the league's most reliable closers. His calm demeanor, elite footwork, and ability to control the pace of a game transformed New York's offense. More importantly, he brought belief back to a franchise that had spent years searching for stability at the point guard position. The playoffs only strengthened that reputation. Brunson repeatedly elevated his game when the stakes were the highest, delivering clutch performances against some of the NBA's best defenses. Rather than shrinking under the pressure of playing in New York, he seemed to thrive on it. Madison Square Garden embraced him as the face of the franchise, and teammates followed his lead. The same player many scouts once labeled as having limited upside had become one of basketball's premier leaders. Then came the ultimate reward. Brunson helped guide the Knicks to an NBA championship, completing one of the most remarkable career ascensions in recent league history. The second-round pick, once viewed as a dependable backup, had become the centerpiece of one of the NBA's most iconic organizations. Looking back, Brunson's greatest growth spurt wasn't about developing a new skill or suddenly becoming a different player. It was about finally receiving the opportunity to prove he could be exactly what he had always believed he was. Once the Knicks handed him the keys, everything the basketball world questioned about him began turning into everything that made him special. Sometimes talent doesn't need to be discovered, it simply needs someone willing to trust it. All in all, Jalen Brunson's story proves that growth isn't always about becoming something new. Sometimes it's about refusing to let other people's expectations define who you can become. Long before he became an NBA champion, Brunson had already built a resume that suggested he was destined for success. Yet, because he wasn't the tallest, fastest, or most explosive player, many evaluators convinced themselves his potential had a limit. They saw a dependable player. Brunson saw something much bigger. Over the years, he validated that belief at every stop. He outperformed his draft position, became indispensable in Dallas, then took full advantage of the opportunity New York gave him. Once the Knicks placed the franchise in his hands, he rewarded that faith by becoming one of the league's elite point guards and leading one of the NBA's classic franchises back to championship glory. His journey is a reminder that scouting isn't just about athletic tools. Leadership, poise, toughness, and winning still matter. Brunson never changed who he was. The basketball world simply took years to recognize his value. In the end, Jalen Brunson didn't outgrow expectations, he shattered them, turning every doubt and overlooked moment into fuel for one of the greatest growth spurts the NBA has ever seen. Salute, much respect. For these reasons, Jalen Brunson hit his growth spurt. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.